Top 3 most influential people in advertising. You'd have to ask yourself, had they never existed, who would have had the most impact in changing advertising as we know it today? There are plenty of people out there that are still in the business that have made a huge impact, including Alex Bogesky, Wyden Kennedy, the Saatchi brothers, my number one man, Donnie Deutsch. But if you look at all of history, my top 3 would be, starting at number 3, Bill Bernbach. Bill Bernbach was truly revolutionary for his time in looking at how products relate to the end user. Think of some of the campaigns that came out of his shop at the time, the VW Bug, Think Small, the Alka-Seltzer, Plop Plop, Fizz Fizz. He really elevated advertising to an art form and changed the way people think about how they approach creative. So Bill Bernbach would be my number 3. My number 2 would be Leo Burnett. Leo Burnett was a master at building brand, and this is before brand became an integral part of the marketing process as we know it today. Think back to some of the campaigns he did that we're still living with today, specifically as they relate to the consumer packaged goods category, the Pillsbury Doughboy, the Jolly Green Giant, the Marlboro Man, all those McDonald's characters. That was Burnett, and they're not as powerful a creative shop as they used to be, but he truly was revolutionary in that respect of building brands for products. And my number one most influential person of all time, forever and always, would be David Ogilvy. Number one, near and dear to my heart. Ogilvy was probably one of the most intelligent, some would say egotistical men that ever worked in the business, but he had the results to back it up. He was very good at taking comprehensive research and boiling that down into an insight to drive results. He was one of the first to work with Gallup to pull customers in building that messaging. And one of my favorite quotes from Ogilvy was, "The consumer's not a moron, she's your wife." You're not going to get her to buy by some cute slogan or some fancy adjectives. She needs information, and you got to give it all to her. So he was very good in that regard of taking all the data and boiling it down into really smart insights that drove sales. In fact, one of his favorite sayings was, "It's not creative if it doesn't sell." So he would be my number 1 in that regard. Plus, the number 1 reason I like David Ogilvy is this book right here. I was in the 7th grade walking through a bookstore, and I happened upon this book, and it was a revelation to me at that time, like, oh my God, this is what I want to do with my life. And actually, many, many years later, I got to work for Ogilvy, met the man, and he signed the inside front cover of the book. And an interesting fact about David Ogilvy was he had never worked in advertising before, and at the age of 38 started his agency. So that shows you it's never too late to follow your dreams. And they're now one of the largest in the world. I think they have over 450 offices worldwide. So there's my top 3.